Hey, our upgrade pace is looking solid right now, but I do think we need to push harder if we want to stay competitive. Here's the report.
Just on guys, it's Tom and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of my F1 2017 career mode, and we are here for round 7 at the Canadian Grand Prix. And if you missed the episode that went out earlier today for Monaco, then there's going to be a card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screen, and also at the end of the video for you guys to go check that one out if you have missed it before getting to this episode. But round 7 in Canada, and a little short stint away from Europe here in Canada, and then quickly back to Europe for Baku in the next race, even though Baku, in inverted commas, is 50-50 when it comes to Europe. But we're going to continue on with the European season later on, but we're currently away across the pond in Canada, and this is going to be one of the tracks I'm most looking forward to. Actually, it's one that I've always had pretty good pace around, and it's one that I've always enjoyed racing at. Every game I've always had pretty solid pace around here, and let's hope that this game is not any more different, and hopefully we can try and perform well around here, because we do need a good result after the last few races. Really, I've only scored about a total of like 10-12 points in the last few races, so I would really like to try and step up my game here and try and have a solid race weekend, and hopefully get a couple of few solid points on the board, which would really help me out in the championship. But overall, very interesting race weekend, this one. Obviously, we haven't brought any upgrades for this race. We do have upgrades planned. We should have a rear wing upgrade for the next race in Baku. So the development time on that upgrade was 2 weeks. So that should be it for the next race. However, we are going to try and get some more resource points put away in practice, and try and keep on stacking up on them points. Also, as you can see there, brand new helmet design for this race. And I'm probably going to stick with this helmet for the rest of the season, unless you guys want me to change it. So let me know in the comments down below. But we're going to jump into practice now and focus on the task in hand, and trying to get some resource points away, and focus on the development a little bit more. So obviously the aerodynamic is going to come on pretty well. We've now got a new front wing, and we've got the new rear wing coming in the next race. So we're just sort of, getting them points away. But the next upgrade, I want to try and get something that's going to obviously upgrade the car elsewhere to sort of balance out the upgrades a little bit. But right now we are progressing nicely in the aerodynamic side of things. And right now we're currently getting through the practice programs, and it's going pretty well, hitting purple on everything so far. And the fuel saving one, we was on the green right until the very end. I had to do quite a lot of short shifting here as we run up to the line to try and get it into the purple, and we just about get it there. So the fuel saving was a little bit more marginal than the tyre wear and also track acclimatization, but still managed to get it in purple nonetheless. And then we jump into the qualifying performance test, and this one was also a pretty decent one. Nothing spectacular by any means. It's only going to be a green. So once again, I can't really seem to get a purple in this entire career mode. Green seems to be where I'm at. I think it's because I probably got like 20 kilos of fuel in the car when I should really knock it down to 5. But either way, still green's not too bad. It's still resource points anyway. And then finally we're going to cap it off with the race strategy test, and that was going to be the end of practice. And so far some pretty good amount of points stored. However, I think Emma has got a message for us now once we go back into the laptop.
Guess who made the gossip columns this morning? Everyone's talking about this new rival you have. Check his stats out.
Right, so we've got a new rival, and who is it going to be? Max Verstappen. Wow, okay then. So they're setting the bar high here in Force India for me to try and beat this guy. So wow, that's going to be a pretty tough one to beat there, but we'll give it our best shot. Either way, jumping into the laptop now, I want to say I used the used engine components that we used for 5 of the 6 races this season in practice. So I've used them engine components for the last time now this season. I used them for practice to really get the length out, but now I'm switching over to all brand new parts. I say brand new in inverted commas. Some of them have been used, but they're all still well in the green. They're only like 10% worn, if that. So it's all looking really good right now. As you can see, the overall wear of the engine is only 3%. So we've got pretty much a brand new engine, and also a brand new gearbox coming in, as we've now done the mandatory 5 races. So we used all the old components in practice just to try and make sure that we can guarantee ourselves not getting any penalties in the season. And we've now switched over to the brand new engine components. Luckily, didn't have any issues with the old ones, didn't have any issues with the gearbox. So I was very fortunate in that first round to not have any major issues, and the car performed quite nicely. I was just down on power in a few races, but as you can see now, jumping into qualifying, and we're currently in Q1. It's intermediate conditions qualifying. However, it's expected to get even worse in the wet, and we get through Q1 rather comfortably. Actually, a pretty good lap there, 7/10 off the pace from Sebastian Vettel there, with Esteban Ocon getting through in P13 there. But jumping into Q2 now, and Same conditions as Q1, slightly worse. The rain was picking up ever so slightly, and like I said, the full wets were expected by the end of the session. But as we come across the line here on our first attempt in Q2, we're in P8, just ahead of Esteban Ocon there, so an okay opening attempt. And I went for one more lap, and I'm currently up at my delta, but I got the final chicane all wrong, and pretty poor exit also on the curb there. And as we come across the line, we're actually going to just about match my previous attempt, and I thought to myself, you know what, fine, that'll do, whatever. I think I'll try and risk getting through on that lap time, and luckily I did manage to get through with Esteban Ocon, and Valtteri Bottas was a shock elimination in Q2, as you can see in P11, so really just couldn't get the car hooked up around here. But either way, P8 for me, P10 for Ocon, 2 full seasons into Q3, very good result, and we're now going to jump into Q3 and onto my best lap of the session. So as you can see, it's now full wet conditions, and I've had a scruffy exit at the end of my first time lap, but we're going to stay on board now for this next lap, which was my best one of the Q3 session. So here we go, then, running it into turn 1, third gear, just trying to pick up the apex here. The car is wanting to get away from you at every possible opportunity. We now get a nice run and a decent bit of traction actually out of turn 2 there, which is going to allow us to get a nice run into turns 3 and 4. And so far, the lap's gone pretty well. I'm currently pretty much 3/10 up on my delta as we go almost flat out through this kink here. Then slowing it down to third gear, possibly second for turn 6, I believe it is. And then into turn 7, just trying to pick up the traction through here. Take it very easy on the throttle. You don't want to really step out the rear end. And so far, doing a pretty good job of keeping everything under control. Now going into turns 8 and 9, now a right-left chicane. Be careful on the curbs because it can be very slippery. So far, I've had a pretty good run through that. I'm now almost 8/10 up on my lap time. So a pretty good lap here the second time round, and it's much more competitive than the first one as we now go into the hairpin second gear corner, try and pick up the apex and do a pretty good job of getting it all slowed down there. And now it's critical that you get some good traction out of here because it's going to basically affect your straight line speed throughout the entirety of the back straight here. As you can see, it's still pretty good on the delta, still up on our lap time, and things are looking pretty damn good so far. We're in the max engine mode, so we're pushing as hard as we can at the moment, and we're now going to hit fourth gear for the final chicane. I lock up slightly, running a little bit deep onto the curb, and it's not the best possible line, and also a scruffy exit, which is going to compromise our lap time quite a bit there. So a bit of a scruffy third sector, but across the line, and it's P6 there, and that's actually our best lap of the session. I tried to go for one more, but I actually made a mistake around about the hairpin on the exit next lap round. So that was going to be the end of the qualifying, and P6, a very good qualifying position there with Esteban Ocon in P9. So overall, a very solid session here, a double Q3 appearance for Force India, and I just wonder, like, the car felt good, and maybe it's just one of the tracks that suits the car because even Ocon managed to comfortably get into Q3. So overall, a solid qualifying session here at Canada. Verstappen taking pole position, so it's going to promise to be a very interesting race. So without further ado, let's jump into Sunday for the Canadian Grand Prix. Right, so here we are then on the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix, and I'm very much looking forward to this one because from qualifying to race, there's been basically an F1 2017 update, and it's been an optimization patch, and I've been testing it out, and the game runs very nicely now. Some of the issues I was having have been fixed, especially the wet weather issue I was having in Spain, and that was also in qualifying just literally moments ago. Because I'm recording this after, then obviously you were seeing it just a few minutes ago, but in between sessions there's been an update, and I've gone back to the wet weather, and it's actually recording much more nicely now. That's very good to see. So for this particular race, not in qualifying, but now for the race, I'm actually running this at maximum graphics, and I'm pulling 60 frames per second, which is absolutely fantastic because I was running at 50 before because I was waiting for the graphics driver to come in to try and improve the frames. So now we are on 60 at max graphics, so this is going to hopefully add a small amount of quality to the video, which is something that I'm hoping for. But we're going to now focus on what the task is, and that is the race itself. And we're starting from P6, very good qualifying. Bottas is starting way down the order, I believe, in P11. So we've got the jump on these guys, and we've qualified best of the rest. Also, with the new engine components, obviously, they worked out beautifully for us, and it's given us a little bit of extra horsepower on a track that you do really want a little bit of engine power. So a really, really good qualifying session in the wet. And as you can see, we're looking at the race strategy, and it's a fairly simple one-stop, nothing to really hide here. We're going to just go on the ultras and then switch over to the super softs, take them to the end. Fairly simple strategy. I've overfueled the car by 1.5 kilos compared to what the team told me, just in case if I want to use the rich mix at any time. But I'm very interested to see what our pace is like in these dry conditions. Max Verstappen's on pole, so as long as he holds first place into the first few corners, then he's going to hold up the Ferraris and the Mercedes for me, so it could be for a little bit of a tasty battle. So I'm very much looking forward to this race. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it for the Canadian Grand Prix. Right, here we are. 5 red lights for round 7 of the season for Canada. Lights out and away we go, and it's a pretty good start off the line actually reacting quite nicely. Ricciardo is off to an absolute screamer. I'm going to cover the inside here as we go into turn 1. Ricciardo 3 wide with Hamilton and Vettel. I've got Grosjean up my inside, who's made a brilliant start. He's actually made the move on me there. He's actually going to try and get past Lewis Hamilton here as they go side by side. I'm going to sit behind these two for now as we go into the chicane for the first time here. Taking it very easy. Going to try and just squeeze through there, just thanks to Hamilton, who put Grosjean off there. I managed to squeeze through, so we're back up into our starting position. But Ricciardo up into P3, and I think Kimi Räikkönen is in first place. Surprise, surprise. So he's back in that position again. I know a lot of you guys in the comments have been saying he's so OP, so he's back in that position again, and he's managed to jump Verstappen at the start. So watch out for Kimi, but we're in P6, a pretty good start here. So now the objective is to try and see if we can keep pace with these guys and stay somewhat close, because we've got Red Bulls who are doing buffers for us. We've got a double Red Bull sandwich in second and third, so they should hopefully hold these two up and we can try and stick with them and try and make something happen this race. Also, eyes on the back of our head as we've also got Grosjean behind, who could make a move at any possible moment here today. But a little bit of an interesting message I got on the radio whilst preparing to record. Apparently I'm near getting the number 1 driver status, so if we keep on performing as we have been this season, then we could be getting the promotion very soon. So let's keep it going here and let's see what we can do. But right now, Raikkonen setting the pace up front, absolutely just pulling away like an absolute machine. And this race has got Raikkonen all over it unless he goes for a weird strategy and completely bottles it. So let's settle down now and try and find some pace. Raikkonen setting the pace, and look at that. Mr. Valtteri Bottas from P11 up to P7. He's now behind me on the track, and he had a free choice of tyre and he's opted for the Ultra Softs. So very interesting strategy there from Valtteri. Different strategy compared to his teammate Lewis Hamilton, who's on supers in front of me. So we've got Mercedes cars on split strategy, but right now Bottas is going to be lining us up for a move very soon here, and I think I'm going to not defend too hard because frankly it's a Mercedes, so we can't compete with him. Here comes Valtteri, he's gone to my outside. I'm going to have to go defensive here. Oh, I accidentally got the inside of Lewis here by accident, but he's going to hold it around the outside. Oh, bit of a tank slapper. That's going to allow Valtteri through. Ricciardo and Vettel going side by side onto the grass up ahead. It's all kicking off here at Canada. Action everywhere. DRS wide open now. And look at this. Bottas is going to make a move on Lewis. And this is going to be very interesting to see into the chicane. So here we go then. I'm going to brake early, watch this battle unfold and try and pick up the scraps. Both Mercedes through the chicane. I just squeezed through. Very nice there. We just picked them both off. Very clever driving. Keeping my front wing in one piece. That was very, very close. But we've pulled it off. And we've still got a full front wing even though we're on simulation damage. So very nice move there. Playing it very smart. And the Mercedes almost taking each other out. So we're up into P5. I'll say momentarily because it's inevitable Bottas will actually pass me properly next time he gets me. Speaking of such inevitable pass, it's come much earlier than I anticipated, but Bottas has gone for the move. I'm going to look for the outside, but he's just running me out of room there. I'm going to have to let him go. I thought about just keeping it side by side, but he's just giving me a good old squeeze onto the curb. So Bottas makes the move and he takes P5. I'm going to sit behind him because I'm going to have DRS now. So could we maybe make the pop? I don't think so. Oh my god, he's so fast out of there. Jesus. That's a bit too quick, to be honest. The Works Mercedes is still a really fast car on a straight line. I mean, the acceleration he got out there was absolutely just unparalleled to what I can do. But we are going to stay ahead of Lewis thanks to the DRS assistance. So I think we're going to survive from Lewis this lap. But I actually think we can maybe keep Lewis behind us because of the tyre deficit. So Lewis obviously being on that compound, I think he's going to be a little bit slow. So I think we can hold on to this position for now. Everyone seems to be fairly close for pace here, and everyone's fairly matched. I mean, I can still see Ocon on the minimap, and he's on the same straight as me. So I think everyone, unless your name's Raikkonen, is pretty much very similar pace around here, and every team's pretty much balanced up. So very good to see. And if Raikkonen weren't the lead, to be a pretty interesting race because everyone's so close together. We've got various battles. Vettel going side by side with Verstappen, and Bottas going side by side with Daniel Ricciardo here as we go on to lap 7. Personal best lap of the race for me, and I'm just watching these battles unfold, and this is allowing me the opportunity to catch back up to these guys. Just great battling on track. Vettel has passed Verstappen, so it's a Ferrari 1-2, and Mercedes must be really concerned right now. But look at this. Bottas and Ricciardo still going side by side. Bottas just gets Danny Rick there, and I'm all over the back of Ricciardo. I could have gone for the lunge there, but oh, that was very nice. And Bottas really making his way through the field from P11 on the grid. He's making a great effort to try and recover through the field here. Meanwhile, Lewis is still behind me on them super soft tyres, but he doesn't really have the edge on grip on those. So something to keep in mind for when we go into those tyres later on. But right now, I'm liking how we're faring this race. We haven't got the pace, obviously, but because these guys are constantly battling, it's allowing us to just sort of stay within DRS and constantly stay in the loop and keep up with these guys. As you can see, I'm going to be within DRS again this lap. So this is all just good for me, and it's all helping me out right now. And I think Ricciardo, he will have DRS on Bottas, but I think he's a bit far away. I'm close to Ricciardo here, so can I go for a pop? I'm gaining. Oh, I don't think it's going to be enough though. So we're going to wait. We're going to just negotiate the final chicane first. Try and have some good exit speed, which we have done. And this could be the one here. Can we get past Danny Rick? We're going to pull to the outside. Can we go around the outside of turn 1? This would be very hard, but I'm going to give it a go. Have we got the grip inside for turn 2? Ricciardo still on my outside. Brilliant side-by-side action here. Ricciardo getting the traction. I'm going to hold the inside though. Can we go side-by-side through here with the AI? Oh, yes, we can. Ricciardo makes it. I'm going to go on the outside. Oh, we're still side-by-side. Brilliant stuff here. Come on, let's try and get the move. Can we get it? Oh, he's still on my inside. We're side-by-side still. Unbelievable. Ricciardo giving me a good old run for money. And oh, the back end just snaps on me there. Ricciardo's absolutely done me. Fair play to him. And here comes now Lewis Hamilton. So we're going to have to defend from Lewis here. Oh, that's very, very close through there, but Lewis has got the move. I'm all over the back of him now, but fair play to Ricciardo and the AI. That goes to show how much more improved they are in this game. I mean, look at what Ricciardo's just pulled off there around the outside the entire time. So fair play to him, and GG, that was a very good battle here. But now Ricciardo's not going to have DRS, and me and Hamilton are. So could this set us up for a cheeky little overtake onto the pit straight? Lewis is just absolutely bolted with DRS. I mean, look at the speed he's got. He's actually going to make the move on Ricciardo. Jesus. Right, let's just watch this unfold. We've got more battling up ahead. I think we've got an issue up ahead. But, oh, man, I got to get out of the throttle there. Big on the brakes. Almost straight into the back of Daniel Ricciardo there. But Hamilton has made the move. And, wow, we're losing hand over fist here. Raikkonen must be loving this because he must be a country mile away right now. But, wow. That was some great battling all round there, and I really, really enjoyed that sequence. We've got a yellow flag, and Ricciardo's out. Oh, Ricciardo's, I think he must have broken down or something. Yeah, Ricciardo is out of the race, so there you go. Just to end the battle there, Ricciardo's now out of the Canadian Grand Prix, so there you go. Will that trigger a safety car or a virtual safety car? I don't think it has. I don't think it will either, so we're going to sell into P6 here behind Lewis, and this is going to probably give us one more place in the finishing position, so not too bad. Okay, Bottas is in the pit lane, so that's a very early pit stop. Considering he started on fresh ultras, he must have really burnt them up. So, unless he goes on softs, I think he's on a one-stop strategy. So, very interesting one there from Valtteri. Okay, rear tyres are starting to scream a little bit now, as you can see on the graph, 44 and 42 on both of the rears. Meanwhile, Hamilton will move on Verstappen, and I think they've got a little bit argy-bargy, a little bit close to the wall there. Verstappen has come worse off, I think. So, we're going to get right up close to Verstappen here. One of these got maybe some front wing damage. Either way, we're sitting pretty in P5. I think that's the highest we can hope for this race, unless something does happen with the AI. So that's what we can hope for, really. Right, remember Verstappen's DRS. I'm going to expect him to pit this lap, so I'm going to expect him to just follow him into the pit lane. So, oh, there we go. We just had to slow down for him there, but let's get it all slowed down. There we go. Nice bit of pit limiter action. So solid pit entry. We've got, I think that's a Ferrari in the head. That's Vettel. So he's doing his stop. But here we go into our pit box. Let's have a nice, easy pit stop here. Get the clutch in. Away we go. Solid exit. There we go. 2.9. Not a spectacular pit stop by any means, but it will have to do. And another question is, where are we going to rejoin? So let's get the limiter off. Let's get up to speed and see where we rejoin on track. I think we're going to rejoin just behind that Williams of Felipe Massa. So not too bad in P10. So let's try and get a move on now and get past some of these guys. Well, I'm really pushing the car here. I'm currently in rich mix, using what I've got to try and stick with Verstappen here. I don't know why, but I've just got some good pace around here. The car's working nicely for me, and I don't know what the other cars are like in terms of their engine wear or engine components, but I've got some alright pace. I mean, Grosjean's doing pretty well as well in the Haas there, but I'm very impressed. Obviously, Ricciardo's retired from the race, which is going to help us massively, but overall, I'm really impressed, and the car's just working nicely for us.
We advise moving to mix 2, fuel to mix 2. Some information on Verstappen. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Okay, so Verstappen's got a problem with his car, so literally as I finished talking there on cue, Verstappen does have issues, so that's going to hopefully encourage us to make the move on him if he is very slow. So let's try and size him up for an overtake here, and I can visibly see that he is struggling already and he's starting to slow down. So let's try and set ourselves up here nicely for a move. It should be fairly straightforward with some DRS assistance, making the most of a bad situation. And I said Ricciardo's out of the race. Now Verstappen's got issues, so the RB13 obviously unlucky for some. But here we go then, DRS wide open on Max Verstappen. Let's try and get the run put alongside. Can we get in front before the brakes down? I don't think we can, and Verstappen's actually got the legs in that Red Bull, so let's just take the inside line to the chicane, and there we go. Move is done and dusted, and we're up into P5 now. So Lewis Hamilton's the man up next, so let's try and hunt him down, but I highly doubt we're going to do anything against the Mercedes, so let's be real here. Oh, Palmer's out of the race. Also Massa as well. double retirement there, so something's happened with those two guys. I don't know if we'll trigger a safety car or not, or VSC, but we're going to continue on. I don't think it has triggered anything. It's probably happened through the final chicane, that'd be my guess, but let's have a look. Yellow flags through here, debris on the right hand side, so it must have been there. Bottas in the pit lane, by the way, so that's going to promote me up into P4 now, so there you go, not too shabby, and making slow but definite progress here. So right now the race has sort of stabilised in this current phase. Right now I'm keeping control of these tyres and keeping control of my fuel. Meanwhile, the incident happened with Palmer and Massa, I think it was, laps ago, is still there. All the debris still on the side of the track there. It's like a permanent yellow flag. Meanwhile, Bottas is trying to catch me at rate of knots on them fresh super soft tyres. So he's going to try and hunt me down before the end of the race. Also, Hamilton is pulling away. So right now, like I said, it's just sort of stabilising. Bottas is slowly chipping away at me, but I'm still very impressed with my pace around here. I don't know what's happened. I'm going to guess the AI using worn engine components, as we've seen already both Red Bulls out of the race, but it's been a very impressive performance from me here today so far. We've got a slow-moving car by the look of it. That's Danny Kvyat. Must have a puncture on the rear tyre or something, but he's going very, very slowly, and he's going to come into a double yellow flag zone, so that's going to possibly trigger something. I have to be very careful with that, but I think he's going to limp back to the pits okay. I don't think it will trigger a safety car, but either way, I think P4 is looking like a finishing position this race. Bottas is catching, but he's not catching fast enough, I don't think. And just for everyone that will probably type in the comments, up the difficulty to 110, I don't really want to, and I'm not going to, simply because this is a good difficulty level for me. Like, I've been very lucky this race. Things have gone very well for me. Also, let's not forget, I started P6 in qualifying. I mean, Ricciardo DNF'd, Verstappen had issues with his car, and Bottas is on a dodgy strategy. So, them three things have allowed me to get up this high. It's literally nothing else different. And also, in the last 4 races, I've only scored like 10 points over 4 races. So, if you take out the first 2 podiums out of the equation, which even for China, the second race of the season, I was incredibly lucky to get that podium. The first one was the only one where 101 was too easy. Right now, this is like a fine balance for me, and I'm more than happy with it, especially because in the next race we're going to Baku, which is a track that I'm not really good around and I absolutely hate. Well then, here we go then. Bottas just outside of DRS. He can't attempt me anyway because it's yellow flag with his final sector, but surprise, surprise, Kimi Raikkonen is back on top in Formula 1 and he wins the Canadian Grand Prix. We're going to come home in a brilliant P4 and my best result since the second race of the season in China. So well-deserved 4th place there and one that I'm very happy with. I don't know what happened there, but towards the end, my graphics just really struggling. My PC is struggling to run that. I'm starting to realise that my processor may be the faulty part that's struggling running this game, but our processor is very expensive. So I'll keep an eye on it, see how the issue progresses. It may require a CPU upgrade, but still, I can still run this game in perfectly good settings. It's just a shame I have to knock it down to medium or low if I have to, but right now I'm still on high/ultra, so we're still running some pretty good settings. And as you can see, Raikkonen meanwhile wins the race, and he'll be very happy with that result for him and also the Ferrari team there getting a well-deserved 1-2. And I can't believe how good Ferrari are in this career mode so far. I mean, Mercedes are still the better car, so I'm waiting for Mercedes to like actually turn up and do something. Because I don't think they've won a race this season. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's either Vettel or Raikkonen who's won every single race this season. So Ferrari are absolutely loving it, and so Maranello. But overall, that was the Canadian Grand Prix. Raikkonen back on top after a few dodgy races. And in terms of the championship, obviously, I think we're going to stay like P6, I think. Something like that. We'll have a look in a moment. But that's the podium. And there's the Ferrari 1-2, like I said. Maximum points for the Scuderia. And Mercedes must be scratching their head as to what to do next to try and catch these guys. So there we have it, and these are the final race results for Canada. As you can see there, with 1-2 for Ferrari, like I said, with Hamilton in 3rd, myself in P4, Bottas in 5th for Mercedes there, with Verstappen running at the top 6, and Lance Stroll, good P7 for him in his home race, with my teammate Ocon in a very good P8, and then Grosjean and Hulkenberg running out the points. And then looking at the lower half of the table there, Ricciardo, Palmer and Massa DNFing, with Ericsson getting a 5-second time penalty, and Pascal Wehrlein, a 13th placer in the Sauber. Very good job from him there. But now looking at the driver's stand, you can see that I'm still in a pretty good position here, actually 5th place, overtaking Ricciardo after that race. And I've still got Ricciardo and Bottas behind me in the drivers, which is absolutely fantastic. Meanwhile, Ocon overtakes Massa there. So really good job. And the full scene, they've got some really good points so far this championship. And I've got to say, looking at our constructors, we're still comfortably holding P4 there. Very nicely done and Mercedes actually overtake Red Bull this race. So Mercedes making their way back up to the top, but Ferrari looking absolutely unstoppable. But that's going to be it for Canada, and overall very good racing. But we're now going to jump into the laptop screen. As you can see, we're going to get an upgrade here, and it's going to improve our pit stop efficiency, which is really good for future races, and also the upgrade speed for future upgrades is about to get improved. But we're now going to jump into a classic event. Right, so we've got an invitational event at Monza, so that's going to close off this episode, but the task is simple. We've got to travel the distance that says on there, 9.2 kilometers, and we've got a rolling start around Monza, and I think it's going to be like almost like a checkpoint challenge, like basically hitting all the gates before time runs out. It almost reminds me of like a classic NFS game mode where you got basically, it's like a knockout game mode where you got to get the gates and, before the time runs out, basically. So we've got a 35-second time limit, I'm guessing, between each gate to try and hit it. So let's jump into it and see how this one goes. But I don't know if we'll be passing cars in the process, but we're going to give it a good crack, and I'm very much looking forward to driving this fantastic car. Right then, so 35 seconds on the clock, so let's make sure we hit this gate before the timer finishes. But first time driving this car, it feels different. The straight line speed definitely isn't as high as the V6 beast that we have right now, but the downforce definitely does seem familiar compared to something that we drive nowadays. Alright, there's another gate. Gate number 2, a little bit of a corner cut there, but we're still within the allocated time slot. We're slowly building up the kilometers. I think we've got this so far. I feel really confident about this. This car feels really familiar to the 2017 car. It's just a little bit down on straight line speed. So, right, officially halfway there. 9.20. We're now 470 odd. So we're getting there. We've still got a comfortable margin with the gates. So things are looking good as we go to negotiate Parabolica here. Oh, big snap. Big snap. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We've lost it. We've fully messed it up, guys. I think that's going to be the end. Can I get the car pointing in the right direction? Come on. Where is the nearest gate? I can't see it. I think it's game over. I think we've messed this up. Oh no. Oh no. I fully bottled it out of Parabolica. Disaster. Oh no. There was the gate. It was right there. So we could have actually maybe done that. But, wow. So, ooh, that's a bit disappointing, but nevertheless, guys, hopefully you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, then please do smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you're new around here, and if you have missed any of the videos on screen right now, then I do urge you to go check them out if you haven't done so already. Also, check out the Monaco video I uploaded earlier today in the top right-hand card of your screen. But I thank you guys ever so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.